friends, how are we doing? Welcome to Eve's Worldbuilding Diary, episode 2. We made it to episode 2. This is truly a momentous occasion for me, not for anyone else. I'm not under any illusions that the only person who will see my previous episode and probably this episode is my mum. So, hi mum, I love you. So I was actually really excited to post that video yesterday. I was just like, you know what? It turns out that pretty much the whole video is out of focus, but you know, I've learned that videos need to be in focus now. So we live and we learn, and hopefully I have changed the autofocus tracking features on here so that this video will in fact be in focus. I mean, it's a lottery. We'll find out when I go to watch the footage back whether that's actually the case. But yeah, without kind of fannying about further, I think we should get into the meat and bones. Ugh, that's a horrible phrase. Let's not go into the meat and bones. Let's go into the souffle of the rest of this episode. So I cheated a bit because it's about 11 o'clock now and I've kind of done a few things this morning, but you know, it's okay to do things, and I will get more in the habit of filming stuff as and when it's necessary. But I will take you through what I do in a morning normally to try and prepare myself for the day and to try and get some things done at least. As even though I haven't really been that successful with making videos before now, I am actually quite good at sticking to a schedule, and I have drawn a lot actually. So that is something I think I do quite well, which is making a schedule / plan and then kind of sticking to it. I usually, when I plan my days, I have just this agenda, this like diary, which is a page to a day, and I basically just go through at the beginning of the day and just write down every hour what I expect to be doing. And it's okay if things change, I'll just cross it out and write what I actually did. And it's also really useful for when I'm actually drawing a map, like a large project map, that I write exactly what I did, and I wrote how many hours I spent on it. And then I can keep tally of how many hours I've spent on a map at the top. And that is really helpful because in the beginning, if you're drawing maps, you might draw for hours and hours and completely lose track of time. And then when people would like to commission you for a map, you have no idea how long it's going to take you, based on, you know, map size and detail level and amount of creativity that needs to go into it and stuff. And so that can be really hard to price just from a kind of business perspective. But it's also good to know how much time you're spending on them. So I did do a little plan. It's already gone off the rails, but that's okay. We still have the rest of the day, and we have crossed off 2 of the things that I wanted to do today already. So not to brag, but I'm kind of killing it. Yeah, the 4 things that I wanted to do today was to buy a sketchbook, which I went and did from my local art shop. I got 2 pads, these Canson XL drawing pads. They're 160 GM paper thickness, and yeah, they seemed like a good kind of very average standard sketch pad. There were so many to choose from, I did get quite overwhelmed. But because most of the drawings that I do are on A2 or A1, I wanted something that I could do smaller maps on, because although I still want to obviously take care of the maps, I sometimes don't want to have to spend 100 hours on a map. So having some smaller paper available seemed like a good idea. And it's nice to support my local art shop. The second thing I wanted to do was post a YouTube video, which I did this morning. I posted the one which you may or may not have seen, episode 1. So I did that, so that was good. So the 2 things that are left to do on the list for today is do more of the digital edits on my Grishaverse or shadow and bone map on the iPad, because I'm getting those ready to make prints of them. And then the other thing is I want to plan the first map in a series that I have an idea for, which is partly why I bought the smaller paper. And yeah, I don't know if I'll have time to film that stuff today, probably not with the other things. But who knows, maybe I will. Maybe we'll get bonus activities done today. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is probably do the planning first, and then after lunch I will do the digital edits, because those things, it tends to take less brain power than actually fully creating and planning a new map. So yeah, right, if I'm doing that, then you have to tell me in the comments what you're about to do, and then when we come back you can tell me whether you've done them or not. So I'm going to sneeze again. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Oh God. Hay fever sucks. The new project that I'm doing the working title is Landscapes of Life. I don't know if I like that title. It's a bit cringe. It's a bit stale feeling. But, you know, we can work on it. It's not great, but it's something. So that's the Eve's Worldbuilding mantra. And the purpose of Landscapes of Life is to try and create some fantasy maps of the human experience, which is no small undertaking. What I hope to end up with is like a world map with kind of different areas of human life. So the first continent, the one that I'm planning now, is our physical lives, kind of like through our experiences through our bodies. So there's mostly going to focus on our body parts and kind of bodily organs and functions. And I can talk about themes to do with health and vitality and physical care practices and stuff like that. Our senses and the different sensations that we can feel through our bodies. I've also thought to do the primary emotions, and then there might be a couple of other things that I add to this map. I haven't decided yet, because it's gender and race, which are both quite dicey topics anyway, and I want to make sure that I do them in a sensitive and positive way. So I think that those two subjects I will need to think about more before I put them into a physical map. But definitely the body, like the organs, the senses, and the primary emotions are the things that I'm going to include in this map for shizzle. Okay, so I have changed this quite a few times today already, but I think I've finally got a layout that I'm happy with for the full world map. I started just focusing on one area, but then I was kind of like, well, I want the areas to link together, and I want them to make sense, kind of in the configuration. So I had to think hard about which areas I wanted where and what to include and what not to include. And as you can see, I've put love, which I personally think is like a huge part of the human experience. So I have made that like a whole landmass, whereas you would consider that just like partly social, partly physical, partly emotional. So I've just dedicated a whole continent to it because love is nice, love is great. Okay, now I'm gonna actually like zoom in on this one. I have already been messing around with it, but I think that it requires further review. So let's get to it. I have taken some time out of my drawing to come and annoy my cat. This is Pancakes. She's obsessed with this blue wiggly thing, and she's the goodest girl ever, really. Aren't you? Are you the goodest girl ever? Yeah. Yeah. You get, oh, flop. Apparently this is called the social flop, or like the social drop or something. But she does it all the time. That's actually why she's called Pancakes, because when she was a kitten, we rescued her from a yard like a construction yard. She was just born outside, and then she became my friend and we just took her off the street. But she would always come up to me in the pavement and like just flop over. She would kind of be doing that, so I called her Pancakes. And yeah, now she lives with us. Yeah. Well, more like we live with her and she just lets us stay here. Yeah. I just wanted to show you my socks because I would look down at them in my little like house flip-flop slipper things. And look at them, they're so cute. This has nothing to do with art, but it has everything to do with my soul. Look at them. Well, I'm giving feet content on the internet for free. Okay, so I'm now doing the body or physical part of the map. Also, I have changed my top, yes. That's because I had my lunch and I thought it was a good idea to eat red curry with a pure white shirt on. And you know what? Turns out it wasn't a great idea, so had to change. But I've kind of been like making different versions of this map because every time I thought I finished, then I had another idea and then I would add another piece and then it kind of got a bit chaotic, so I just started again. But I think that the areas that I now have are like the skeleton. So think of, these are all in the continent of body. These are now separate countries. So we've got like skeleton, muscles / outside body, and we've got like organs. I think I'll mostly focus on the major organs. We've got sensor, like the 5 senses, and I'll probably link the organs / outside body part to that with the skin barrier. Then, oh, I've also got plain, oh Lord, pain and pleasure as like part of the 5 senses, but also linking to the sex and reproduction area. I've put a little thing just for voice, because is voice a part of your body? It's your vocal box and your lungs and stuff is obviously part of your body, but voice is something else. So I'm gonna obviously get philosophical with it because why not? There's sleep and the primary emotions. And then, although I feel like maybe the emotions need to be down. Oh God, see, this is why it takes me forever to draw a map, because I'm kind of like, yeah, this is great. And then I have a thought and then I realise maybe it's not so great, or maybe it was great and I was just doubting myself. Anyway, we've got a separate area for like kind of bodily systems, like the dopamine system, the endocrine system, the immune system, and kind of hormones and stuff, I guess. I've also done a separate part for kind of like digestion and health, including illness. And we've got aging, which I left out of the original thing, and aging is a huge part of our physical experience of life. So yeah, definitely going to include that. I think because I've been at this for a couple of hours now and umming and ahhing and doing stuff kind of 100 times, I'm probably going to stop this now and I'm going to move on to doing the shadow and bone digitalization of the map, because I feel that I'm starting to run out of steam a bit. So that's usually a good place to stop, where I feel like, good, I've done a good amount of thinking about this map, and now I'm going to, move on to something else. So I thought I should clarify what I meant by digital edits, because I hand draw all of my maps, and so if people hear that I'm then digitally editing them, maybe they'll think that I'm actually drawing them on my iPad. There's only one map that I've ever drawn completely on the iPad, and that was because I was right in the middle of moving and there was other life situations happening, which meant that I didn't really have access to a drawing space. And yeah, so that was the only one that I've ever drawn on the iPad. All of the rest of them I draw by hand, and then I have the arduous process of trying to make them kind of usable, printable in the future. What I wanted to clarify with the digital edits is that when I scan them in, well, when I have a scanner, but it's only A4 sized. So anything that's larger than that, either I have to try to take multiple scans using the A4 scanner, or now I'm taking really high quality digital photographs of the maps and then putting them into Procreate so that I can then adjust the contrast just to make sure that the blacks stay really nice and black, because I draw all of my maps in black and white. Also, sometimes because I draw by hand, they can't be exactly perfect. Like, I do my best with the measuring, but sometimes it's just not possible to get everything exactly right. So then I need to just kind of like distort the map a little bit to make sure that it stays in a square, kind of like a square frame. So if you were to put the map into a frame, then it would actually fit within the like margins. So those things, and also if I make any small mistakes, obviously I want to get rid of those. I try to leave imperfections, like things that are not necessarily exactly the same size, even though they're supposed to be symmetrical, things like that. You know, it's a hand-drawn map, so it's going to happen. But anything that's kind of like, you know, my pen slipped, or, you know, sometimes you get ink blots for whatever reason, I try to get rid of those. Or if you colour in an area by mistake, sometimes I've done that too, where I'm just merrily like in the zone of drawing, and then I'm like, wait, I was absolutely not supposed to draw that part like that. So that's the only times that I try to change anything about the maps. So yeah, that's all I'm doing really, just going around and just making sure that the border fits within the frame, and making sure that all the contrast and the lines look good for when I make prints of them. Maybe with these videos I'll suddenly be able to do everything so much faster, so here's hoping. Right, I'm gonna crack on with this. I'm probably not gonna film it because I think I've used most of the camera battery, and I need to put it on charge. But I mean, it's literally just me looking at pixels, so it's not particularly exciting. And I will check in with you afterwards. Okay, so it's now the end of my working day, and I feel pretty good about it, actually. I did the edits on my map. Well, I haven't finished them, but I made good progress. The border is done, so that's really good. So that means that I did all 4 things on my post-it note today. Not to brag, but, oh, I thought that was gonna be way more dramatic. I thought it was gonna go backwards, and it didn't. It just fell right there in front of me. But yeah, I did all 4 of the things on my post-it note, so I feel good about that. And I actually, you know, had fun doing it. And I mean, I don't think the videos that I recorded were like great, but I did my best to document at least some of what I did today. And I've got something that I can now post, so I am happy about that. And I have seen this Canadian company called Ferris Wheel Press, and they make really beautiful inks, or at least they appear to be beautiful online. And it's, well, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it on the camera, but it's kind of like this, yeah, like ruby red colour. I don't know if I can shine the light on it. I have this little clippy light, maybe it will show up better. Yeah, it's ruby red, and it's kind of got like a glittery finish to it. So I'm very excited because, clip this back on. Oh, tits. All my pencils nearly went then. No. Oh, also, just before I talk about that, like, look how cute this little cup is that I got. I have a pumpkin one as well somewhere, but we've just moved house, and everything is still in boxes. But I found this little guy, and he's got little googly eyes. It makes me really happy, and he just stares at me whilst I'm doing my stuff. But anyway, yeah, I want to add some colour into my maps sometimes, and I also want to improve my calligraphy and things. So I got this because it just looked really nice. Yeah, that noise is how it makes me feel. So I'm excited to have received that today. Yeah, you can let me know in the comments whether you managed to do all the things that you wanted to do today. Even if you didn't, I don't want you to be threatened by the fact that I finished this post-it note. Not every day will be like that. But yeah, I hope that seeing me doing stuff helped, and I will see you again tomorrow. Enjoy your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and happy mapping. Is that what I say? Yes. Yes. Happy mapping.